Hey guys, welcome to the Africa podcast. My name is Muiwa.
My name is Oluwani Femi.
And I'm Emmanuel.
So Nigeria finally got its own COVID vaccine delivered.
Thank you, Lord.
That was good news for the week.
It was, yes.
Finally, although it's just like...
It was as if it came out of the blues because it was as if everybody have rejected Nigeria when Ghana got it last week. And just out of the blues, 24 hours, we'll be getting our first batch of COVID vaccine between March 1st and 2nd. So it was shocking, but it's good news, as you said it. And yes, we're already planning towards vaccination. And the agency involved, there's this agency that's involved with immunization and vaccination in Nigeria. Oh God, my laptop I found.
Okay, so that's definitely good news, and we'll put a link to where to register to be vaccinated if you're in Nigeria. I think there's a priority order. So
Yes.
health workers, elderly people, stuff like that, up to 18. So we'll put a link to that if you've not registered. Well, let's get to the stories of the day. Two giants, what do I call them, giants? Or released their 2020 earnings. So MTN and Opera. Very interesting numbers from both of them.
Yeah, so MTN recorded huge revenues, 1.5 trillion, that is about $3.3 billion in 2020. And that was a slight increase from 2.8 billion it raked in 2019. And it made profit of 205 billion naira compared to 203 billion naira.
That looks small for a company like
Yeah. It's even though they raked in more revenue, there was increased taxation compared to
because
the previous year
of the pandemic.
Yeah,
I
probably.
guess the government had to increase taxes on telcos with the claim that they are making money during that period.
Yeah. So I think if the taxes had not increased so drastically, probably they would have made more profit after tax. But yeah, that's one of them. But another thing is voice revenue still dominated the figures for the year.
So voice is still king.
But it was just
I don't know what they're worried about.
But it's just 5.9% increase. So I think the room for growth is very, very small. But for data, you have 332 million naira and 551.2% year-on-year growth. So compared to voice that grew by just 5.9%, data grew by 51%.
Well, I would have been surprised if data didn't grow by that much because last year a huge bunch of last year
went online.
were indoors and they had to play data and all of that.
Yeah. So then Opera, they own a 13% stake in Opay, the financial services company in Nigeria. So an Opera in the report claimed that Opay crunched $2 billion worth of transactions in December 2020. So the number sounds...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
Yes, $2 billion Opay in December alone. So, but the exact nature of this transaction is not clear because, most of Opay service has to do with mobile money, and for the entire month of December, Nigeria processed 1.4 billion worth of POS transactions. $1.4 billion worth of POS transactions.
So how did Opay now process 2 billion?
We're not sure, but maybe there are other services. So maybe there are other services. So I had to expand it to NIP. NIP includes ATM, USSD, internet banking, and some other major services. All that was about $50 billion. So maybe Opay's other services ate into some of those other.
Under that.
That's a possibility,
But I thought they switched focus to mobile money and remittance, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that was what they switched focus to.
Yeah. That's basically...
Since after the Okada
that's what they switched focus to. Well, I'm just trying to give them the benefits of the doubt. Well, it's not something that can easily be verified.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, they wouldn't lie to their shareholders.
No, they wouldn't. Hopefully.
Because they'll be found out later anyway. They will always be found out if they're lying. But that's interesting. Well, we'll see how that goes. I personally have not used OPA throughout this period, but I know there's some people who say they live by it.
Yeah.
So I guess, and especially places outside the urban areas where maybe there's less opportunity for banking services like ATMs and whatnot. So I guess, well, interesting. You can read more when the link in the episode notes. So before we go to the next story, we announced something this week. The Tech Point Writer Bootcamp
Yeah.
is coming
We're
back.
excited about it.
Yes, second edition. Second edition of the Tech Point Writer Bootcamp. So unless you've been living under, well, if you're listening to this, you're supposed to be a Tech Point fan. Unless someone just shared it to you and this is your first time. Anyway, the Tech Point Writer Bootcamp is a bootcamp where we gather people who have a talent in writing and try to teach them the rudiments of tech journalism. You don't have to have any tech experience. You don't have to have any journalism experience. You just have to know how to write. And then the first edition in 2019, we had 12 people stay together for like 3 to 4 days in a house, learn all the things they needed to learn. And of course, after that, the 5 of those 12 were offered a paid internship with TechPoint, 6-month internship. Of those 5 were Emmanuel and Nifemi that are here, of course.
Living testimony.
And Tej that used to be on the podcast. Yeah. And Tej that used to be on the podcast. And so after the internship, then you'll be offered a full-time job. And it's been good. I mean, Nifemi here, Emmanuel here, you guys are here.
Should I share my
Heritage
testimony?
is at TechCrunch now. Go ahead. Go ahead for the people listening.
Yes. I used to be a Facebook lover, so I post at least an article on Facebook every day. Then I lost interest, but at a point my dad shared the bootcamp advertisement with me. I was like, well, let me give it a shot, and here I am writing news and article and deep dives.
Exactly. Did you ever imagine that?
No.
You would do tech journalism?
Yeah. So even before then, I think I was just writing funny freelance stories up and down and with very, very ridiculous rates. I mean, when I think about the rates right now, when I even mentioned it to Yinka, my corporate governance editor, he was like, "What?
You do that?"
So you did what? So yeah, but it's been an interesting thing, and there's been a lot of growth, and even you yourself,
definitely.
you might not see it, but trust me, everyone around you, you're going to attest to the fact that you
You've
grow a
grown.
lot, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's what like
That's
a
very
master's degree for me.
Right? Yes. No lies. No
Oh,
lies.
interesting. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. So if you're listening now, you want to apply, or you know somebody that you think would be a good fit, just like Nifemi's dad, Nishi would be a good fit. The link is in the episode notes. Tell them to apply. The deadline is the 15th of March. The 15th of March. And of course, if you get through that first through all the stages of the application and you get to the bootcamp, you will have to live in Ife for 4 days for the bootcamp. So you have to be available, and that's going to be happening in April. Early April is the bootcamp in Ife. And then after the bootcamp, if at all you get chosen for the internship, you actually have to work from Ife for 6 months of the internship. So there are more details and everything that you need to know. We'll put the link in the episode notes. And go ahead, apply or share with somebody. We'll really appreciate that. All right, cool. So Nifemi, you did a report on Nigerian startup funding in 2020. Something interesting. Well, it sounds like it's normal now. Every year, that's
But
what
there's
happens.
something interesting there. So, TechPoint intelligence arm of TechPoint Africa released a report recently. It's about Nigerian startups raise, how much they raised in 2020. So, they raised like $120 million, $0.6 million in 2020, and 71% of that came from foreign investors. So it sounds like it's not it's common, it's something that happens every time, but there was a trend that was noticed in 2019 and 2018. It was local investors that dominated the funding space, although they only contributed a little to the amount that was raised. For example, in 2019, 111 deals came from local investors and 53 came from foreign investors. But foreign investors trumped that. But still, something the interesting thing is in terms
In
of
terms
the
of the
amount,
amounts,
but
yeah.
the deals they were involved. That means that Nigerian investors or entrepreneurs are actually interested in investing in other startups, but the scene is it's not too encouraging, if you must say. Even for a person that is not investing, it's scary sometimes when you look at a startup and you feel that this person is doing something innovative and I want to put my money. Then you remember Okada ban in January 2020. Then you
Exactly.
remember the one that recently happened about cryptocurrency restriction.
Crypto is in thin hair. Thin air.
Yes,
Money made
like
from
from
thin air,
our
right?
from
How did the
yes,
CBN
Yeah,
governor
it's
say it?
just,
Yeah, he said cryptocurrency is
from
money
thin air.
created from
Yes.
thin air.
yeah.
So yes, these
Yeah.
investors think about these things, and sometimes it can cause investor pessimism. So, but we expect that in coming years we will get back to the stage that we were in 2019 and 2018, until we get to the point that the amount raised by local investors will be up to the ones raised by foreign investors. If you notice, there are a lot of syndicates, not lots, but a number of syndicates funding initiatives that are coming up. We know about Future Africa by Taya, I know.
CCO.
Yes, then
No, so but no. Future Africa by
sorry,
Boyeji.
sorry, yes. There's Future Africa by Inya Boyeji and there's Syndicate by CCO. Then there's one about Future Tech Africa for women, for women,
First
female
check.
founders.
First check.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's
First
First
check.
Tech
There's also the
there's
one.
First Tech Africa by the what's it called, for female, for women, for female founders, and there are other coming up too. So that means that people are getting interested, and given what happened last year, the biggest news in Nigeria or African tech ecosystem, Paystack exists. People are getting more interested in funding startup, and people are getting more interested in founding startups. So hopefully in coming years the
Yeah.
figures will increase and well the scene will look good.
Yeah, it's a
It
gradual
is.
process.
It
It's
is.
very good. It's a gradual process. And speaking about founding startups, someone who founded a startup has exited, right?
That,
Onyeka of Akuma of Crowdyvest.
yes.
He stepped down as CEO, or what was
Yes,
it
he
again?
stepped down as CEO
Okay.
of Crowdyvest. So Onyeka Akum sorry. Onyeka Akuma founded the first startup he
Yeah.
founded was Farm Crowdy, a crowdfunding startup for farmers, or not really farmers, for
Yeah.
raising funds for farms so that people can cash out from their proceeds. So that one started in 2016, I believe. Yes,
Yeah.
started in
Yes.
2016,
2016.
and subsequent going forward, Onyeka and other 5 co-founders also founded Crowdyvest. So Crowdyvest evolved to become like an umbrella, a holding company that will start funding new digital innovations in tech in Africa. So Crowdyverse grew to become that, but it was still existing as an investment platform. So in 2020, that same holding evolved to become Emphato Holdings. Then it funded Plenty Waka. Sorry. Yes, Plenty Waka. Then it funded Plenty Waka, a bus hailing platform in Lagos State, which has also expanded to Abuja in Nigeria. So the founder
Yeah.
rather, Onyeka, has now stepped down as the CEO of Crowdyvest, but he's still in charge of the 2 other startups, which is Farm Crowdy and Plenty Waka. So he left the position for Temitope Omotarin, who is a co-founder, and she has been the managing director of Crowdyvest. So Onyeka hinted that he has expansion plans for Plenty Waka and Farm Crowdy in 2021. We are looking forward to that, and he has really done a lot of work, being in charge of Crowdyvest and Emphato Holdings, Farm Crowdy, for example,
Mm.
has raised up to, I think, Series A.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it Frank County that acquired this? There was a Lagos meat factory or
Yes,
something that they
yes,
acquired a
yes.
while back.
I've forgotten that.
Mm.
Yes, it was Farm Crowdy, and then under his leadership, Plenty Waka also raised, and before its expansion to Abuja. So we are looking forward to
Mm.
more more exploits from him and wish him well in his
Yeah,
endeavors.
interesting times. Oyeka is quite the, I'll call him quite the serial
Right?
entrepreneur. I know he started in Jumia and Konga, and then when he left Konga, was it Jumia? He went to, I think he was in Jumia first, then went to Konga, and then
I
left
mean to
Konga,
travel better
uh, joined Travel Better,
for
and
Farm
then
Crowdy.
so you've just been on and on
Yes,
and on. Well,
I wish him
okay,
well.
and this ties to what you said before about founders now forming syndicates to fund startups and all
Mm-hmm.
of that. And then we're looking forward to that ratio of foreign investors to local investors to like balance
Mm-hmm.
more. So things like these are what we're going to be seeing more and more of over the
Right.
years. Founders leaving startups to start another thing. The other time on one of our Built in Africa episodes, we interviewed a former Paystack engineer who went on to start his own startup. We've had people that were at Andela too and went on to start their
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So we are going to start seeing more and more stuff like
Yes.
that. People leaving companies they were working into found companies. People that founded companies leaving it to others to take up the mantle while they go and do something else. So eventually we're going to start seeing
That
local investors. And yes, for now the amounts they provide are
compared
small
to
compared to what the
mm-hmm.
foreign providers provide. But that's only a matter
Right.
of time. That's
So,
only a
but
matter of time. So
so
good
there's
stuff.
something I saw in the article. It seems Crowdyvest, or yeah, they're trying to pivot into a fintech company.
Right, right. So yes, true,
Mm.
true. So not clear exactly, but the plan is to become a wealth management startup and is it lending? Let me confirm that. I think lending and wealth management platform now instead of the normal crowdfunding um, model. You get
I don't think that's Crowdyvest. Is that not
Farm Crowdy.
Farm Crowdy
Oh,
itself?
Farm Crowdy.
Yeah, there's a story we did about all the verticals they're
yeah.
trying to
I
build
think
around Farm Crowdy.
Crowdiverse has
And
always
then
been investment, right? There's always been investment, but now he wants to move. So
yes.
I don't know. Maybe it has always been fintech because what do you call investment platforms?
And I
You
won't
won't
call
call it
them, I
fintech,
mean,
exactly.
yeah, you could call them fintech, but since they are crowdfunding, but ideally what I know is Farm Crowdy is like trying to build a lot of verticals around what they do. So they have Farm Crowdy structured finance, which I believe is the one you're talking about, financing for farmers. Then they have Farm Crowdy insurance for the farmers, Farm Crowdy marketing, Farm Crowdy tech and data, Farm Crowdy foods, Farm Crowdy aggregation. So I think that's what they might be referring to
No, what
as opposed
Manuel
to
mentioned was
Crowdyvest. So
Crowdivest becoming a digital savings and wealth management platform. He said they raised an undisclosed amount.
that's what
Yes,
it's going to be.
that's what it's becoming now. Digital savings and wealth management
So they're trying
platform.
to pivot into
Yes,
that.
yes.
So it's sounding a lot like
Okay, I mean,
Crowdyvest.
Eventually.
Carry wise.
I see. Well, fintech is the darling of African fintech space. Everybody in fintech just keeps raising.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're in Nigeria, you're in Cameroon. The other week was it not a Cameroonian startup that raised $3.5 million?
Yeah,
Dio.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, everybody. I mean, that's where the money is. So I can't blame anybody for. Okay, anyway, good stuff. Congrats to them, to the new CEO, and all of that. So let's move to policy, kind of. So back to this discussion about NIN and the SIM card registrations. Emmanuel, you're working on a story about that.
Yeah, yeah. So the Nigerian Communications Commission has extended the licenses for telcos. Remember, in January, it gave telcos the license to enroll N9 for people, and not just telcos. I think several other private companies were also given that license. So now the NCC is saying it wants to extend the license. It gave them the license for 1 year, but it's saying since
They did
it
so
has seen
well.
how well they've performed, yeah. So they're extending it to 5 years. So meaning telcos will have access to this verification API from the NIMC service or from the NIMC uh, agency for the next 5 years, which, well, I don't know what to make of that. And also, they said they're not going to allow new SIM registrations until telcos have come up with a way that it won't be compromised. I know that I think they're referring to the fact that a lot of Nigerians buy pre-registered SIMs despite the best effort, and the SIM registration process is actually very, very, very is not usually very, very accurate. So I think
There's
that's
the
why they are
thing
telling
is
people to link
the thing
the
is I
N9s
think
and all of that.
the tax of registering SIM over the time has looked like it's too much for these mobile operators, because that's why you see them often giving it out to third party registers, people that register with them, just people by the road, people in their shops and everywhere. So that I think that's what caused sales of pre-registered sims.
But whose fault is it that they did not control that, right? Because even then, when you go and register with those guys by the roadside, you'll be surprised a year later to hear that your SIM is not registered. Come back to our office
Yeah.
to
Exactly.
register. So I don't understand. Is that there was not this process was not seamless. There was no structured way with which those third party guys were, doing all
So,
that. So I don't know why is
but
the
now,
we are the ones
since
to
the NCC has
suffer for that.
stopped them from, I think it was that time when the rule first came out that all Nigerians must register their SIMs in January or February 2020. That NCC prohibited them from using third party people from registering. But now you have added to their responsibilities again, which is registering people for NIMC, for NIN rather. How are they supposed to cope with that? Cope with SIM swap, cope with SIM registration without involving third parties. So I think we are still going to wait for a long time
Yeah.
before SIM registration starts, because if they are not able to establish them according to this, NCC is not going to allow them to start SIM registration. And this is telling on the telcos, it's telling on people. So I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
long this is going to
So
take.
even the NIN stuff, like there are several amounts of people in these offices, both the NIN offices, the NIMC offices, and even MTN, Glo, Airtel, all of them. Because as the days go by, people are losing their SIMs. People are trying to get new SIMs, but they can't.
They can't.
Then
This is a
many
very
of them
bad
come to
time to
queue
lose your
at
phone.
the offices, and what they hear is there's no network because of NIMC connections. You go to
Here's another interesting angle that nobody looked at. So, for example, my car has a tracker that uses a SIM card. So I didn't know that. It didn't occur to me at the time that it was installed that the SIM that is inside was pre-registered, right? So now went to MTN and I was told that it is not my name that is on that
It's
SIM. Of course, obviously,
pre-registered.
because I didn't register it. So I have to go and find who pre-registered it, right? Unless or otherwise the NCC block will be applied to it and the SIM will no longer work. Okay, I was like, okay, let me forget about that one. Let me register another SIM. No, you can't register another SIM right now. So I can't register another SIM. I can't trace the person that is registered, who that SIM is attached to in my tracker. So I'm like in
yeah, you
limbo.
can't even
I can't
It's
you can't
register
even
even
another
as
SIM.
update the
if
details.
it's as if I'm in the same shoe with you.
Exactly.
I bought a glow sim sometimes when they just lifted the lockdown, and since then I've been getting another person's alert from a, I think
Interesting.
she has a bank, she has an account with pensions. And I've been getting alert. I know how much she has in her account. I've been getting messages meant for her. Some people even call me and call me Omolara since. So I don't
Wow.
know how I'm going to even update this information. So there's, apart from the fact that people are missing phones.
And you
Yes,
registered
I
the SIM.
registered the SIM supposedly.
Interesting.
And the interesting thing is that
Interesting.
she might not lose the SIM. She probably left it somewhere, stopped using it. Then Glow sold it to another person. If you remember, there was a time we had issue with SIM recycling. That is one of the problem that people are facing today with pre-registered SIM, because they went to buy a SIM that used to belong to another person, and now your own information is not even overriding that person's information. So the problem is bigger than mobile operators. I don't know how
Yeah,
we get out of this.
yeah, yeah.
It
It's
is.
really messed up. I guess that's why they are all behind the whole using the name to attack. But I mean, you can't just things haven't been the fundamentals have not been taken care of. So I don't know how you're just going to force it. I don't even know about the deadline. Has the deadline been extended, or there's no more deadline?
I
As
don't
the
know.
case
A lot
is,
of people have just been saying, "Oh, please extend the deadline, extend the deadline."
even if they
Yeah,
extend it
it's
to
highly likely.
2022.
Yeah, in MTN's report, they've up to 50% of their subscribers have not linked their NINs. That's
Wow.
according to MTN's financial report. I forgot to mention that earlier. So a lot of people have still not registered their NINs
Thing is, even if
in
we if
Nigeria.
people don't register, the MNOs will be begging NCC, please give them time. Because just imagine during this
Yeah.
period, if not allow them to register subscribers, their subscriber base is reducing. The mobile operators would be pleading with NCC to extend the deadline, because if they say they should cut off the 50% for MTN now of people that have not linked their SIM card, if they say they should cut them away, they will lose subscribers. It's telling on their earnings during this time that they've stopped registration. So we are hoping that they extend the deadlines, and because it's the mobile operators that will suffer for it.
So let's move on to out of SIM registration. Let's go to DSTV. So the South African multi-choice brand.
Hmm.
It seems the National Assembly wants to regulate them, right?
We have
Regulate their
always been
tariffs,
on
right?
Yes,
their
yes.
matter.
So the House of Rep working on a bill that will empower the National Broadcasting Commission, the NBC, to control and regulate the tariff prices of pay TV operators in Nigeria. So, and that will include companies like DSTV, StarTimes, and the rest of them. So, even though they're not that much, yeah. So, and DSTV is like the major player in the space in Nigeria. So, yeah, DSTV they've had several instances of hiking prices from time to time, and which I don't particularly blame them for. And even though subscribers have been clamoring for, oh, we want pay as you view subscription, but they
Model.
said no, it's pay as you view subscription model. But they said no, we can't do a pay as you view subscription model because the partners are airing the shows, they are paying them on a monthly basis. So that's the thing. And NBC and even the Consumer Protection Council, the CPC, they've all been clamoring for, oh, DSTV, don't hike, don't hike. But yeah, there's not been much they could do. But with this new bill, they could be empowered by law to regulate the prices of the NBC. And another provision in the bill that they are amending is the NBC is being mandated to promote fair competition in the pay TV space in Nigeria. And don't forget, last year
Is that
there was
new?
the no, it's that's the NBC code that
Oh,
they're trying to give power to, the NBC code that came out in
last
August
year.
last year. Yeah, so
Oh,
they want to end exclusive content or regulate exclusive content. So it will force pay TV providers to share content with other providers in a bid
or
to
send them
promote fair
away from the
competition.
Nigerian market. One of the two, sha.
Ugh, let's just hope.
We can
Let's
only
just
hope.
hope that's not what they're after.
Well, I have a question. Is there any country where DSTV operates, like maybe the home country like South Africa, where they offer pay as you go?
No, I don't think they do. I don't think they offer pay as you go. So, and
I don't think it's realistic.
TSTV wanted
Yeah,
to do
TSTV.
something like that, but I don't know. I've been looking there for their decoder.
No, they've been advertising all over the place that they already offer. They claim to already offer.
Well, I haven't
it.
seen their decoder yet.
I don't personally
Yes,
know
no,
anybody.
I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I think
I-
they are in, maybe not in Lagos. I've seen them on the street of Akure, for instance, in Ibadan. I've seen their flyers, and I've not seen their office. But I
The-
think
I know that's what I'm saying. We see them. We see it everywhere, but we don't see the boxes
Do you see the
in
dish?
anybody's homes.
no,
or
I
anywhere.
haven't. But
Dishes.
well,
Now you will see flyers everywhere normally.
right, I'm just thinking, like, if not, at least somebody would have come and dragged them online or something. but the times that they promise and they bail on us, people call them out and then they respond. So I think since the last time, I think the last October 1st, that they promised to come back and they are back. We've not really seen any dragging, and activities are going on their social media website. I mean Twitter and do. So hopefully they are doing something. Hopefully, and they keep updating
Okay.
when new channels come in, when there's promo or something. So I think something is going on. I should do a follow up on that.
Okay, I don't really know what the we'll follow up. I don't really know what the House of Reps is trying to do with this. I don't know what their target is. But speaking of DSTV, DSTV's Imagine competition
Yeah, imagined.
in Africa, Netflix released a new
Yes,
feature.
a
right?
new feature.
Something that looks like a social. So is this different from, because I know they had like a story
Preview.
story or status
Yes,
kind of
that's
feature
preview.
where you can. So
Yes,
this one is different from
from that. This one is like a
that. No, not preview. Like they had like a story, like a status.
yes.
Like a
That
WhatsApp
they
or
call it
Snapchat
preview.
status thing where
They
you
call
can
it
see.
preview. That it will show
Okay.
you snippets of trending movies or new uploads. This one is like, it's not like that. It doesn't. It's not like a vertical scroll. It's like an option, a feature that you will click on that will show you trending comedy, comic shows, sitcoms, and anything comedy sha, it will show you on that feature. So once you click on it, you can, but what makes it look like TikTok is that it has options, it has buttons just down at the right side where you can either react with an emoji, say lol or crying face or something like that. Then you can share from that. Then you can watch the snippet.
So can you follow accounts?
And you can't comment. So it's not like
Oh,
any feedback. It's
Then
just like something like
then I'm not.
just the few.
How is
Just
it not like TikTok then?
like the interface is like TikTok, because when you click on it, it pops up to be a full screen, and while you are on it, you can see your emoji reaction pop up on the screen like it is on TikTok, but you can't just
But people cannot
No,
see what you liked.
they cannot.
They cannot. There's no social. I don't see. There's
Well,
nothing social
it's
about
still in.
it.
They're
So
just rolling it
I'm
out
not-
anyways. So they've tested it. I think they tested it last year, and they saw that a lot of people liked it in a way. But maybe they are the ones that will be getting the feedback, not other users. I don't know.
So
Yes,
better.
but now it
testers.
has it has been rolled out for iOS users. Subsequently, it will come on Android. Talking of that, I think
okay.
was it not this week that Twitter Spaces came on? Okay, it's not like it came,
Android.
but it said we should anticipate it, or maybe it's already in beta testing. So it's Twitter beat
So they want to beat.
Yes,
They want to beat Clubhouse.
obviously.
They want to beat Clubhouse
as
to
it
spread
is,
into
as
Android.
it is now.
But the Clubhouse model is the whole form of fear of missing out, making it scarcity, control scarcity. So they are deliberate about putting it on iOS. They are deliberate about saying you can't join in unless you get an invitation or stuff like that. So what they are doing is different from what Spaces wants to do.
Spaces
But,
want to
well,
carry
we'll see.
everybody along.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see. Okay, so that's all for today. It was quite a week. Well, even though not many things happened, but it was
Right.
quite a week. I mean, so we'd like to know what you think about MTN and Opera's numbers especially. And then what you think about foreign investors versus local investors in Nigeria, and the DSTV and Netflix and everything. We are looking forward to hearing from you. You can email us at podcast@techpoint.africa. And don't forget the TechPoint Writer Bootcamp. Deadline is March 15th. So if you're interested or you know someone that is interested, go and check the link in the episode notes or the description and share it to them. Yeah. And this is the first time you're listening. Maybe someone forwarded this to you or shared it with you. Emmanuel, where can they get the podcast? The TechPoint Africa podcast.
you can get it on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Yes, Spotify is now in Nigeria. Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else you get your podcast. But if you don't like using apps, you could head over to podcast.techpoint.africa to get any of all these episodes as they're coming out hot and fresh. But of course, new episodes you can no longer find them on SoundCloud. So we're no longer on SoundCloud. So yeah, that's another reminder. And of course, don't forget our sister podcasts, Built in Africa, where we highlight the best of innovation and entrepreneurs and startups in Africa. So yeah, you can get it on anywhere. Just mention Google Podcasts and the rest. And of course, you can head over to builtin.africa for the latest update.
All right, thank you for that. Nifemi, any last words?
Don't forget the digital currency summit that is coming up. It's this month. We are counting down to it. Prepare with us.
Yes.
Go and
March
register
25.
and we'll see you there.
All right, then. So we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.